There is a fear that doesn't scream, it doesn't panic, it doesn't announce itself. It simply sits quietly in the background of your life. After 45, many people stop feeling afraid in the obvious sense. There are no racing thoughts, no dramatic anxiety. And yet, something feels unsettled. You wake up and nothing is wrong, but something isn't right either. This is not fear of failure. It's not fear of death. It's not fear of being alone. It's subtler than that. It's the fear that this is it, that life is somehow already decided, that the deeper aliveness you expected never fully arrived. And because you can't name it, you don't talk about it. In your younger years, fear had a direction. You feared not succeeding, not being loved, not becoming someone. Fear had momentum. After 45, something changes. You may have achieved enough. You may have survived enough. You may have proven enough. And yet, the fear remains. But now it has no object. It's not about what might happen. It's about what isn't happening anymore. The future feels shorter. Time feels heavier. And the question quietly arises, is this how I will live the rest of my life? This fear doesn't push you forward. It freezes you gently. No one tells you this part. After midlife, fear often comes disguised as numbness. You're not depressed. You're not unhappy. You're not in crisis. But joy feels muted. Curiosity feels distant. Intensity feels exhausting. And this creates a silent fear. What if I never feel deeply alive again? Not dramatic aliveness, not excitement, but that simple inner spark that makes life feel meaningful. This fear isn't loud, so society ignores it. But inside, it grows. Earlier in life, distraction worked. Busyness, goals, relationships, responsibilities. They filled the space. But after 45, distraction loses its power. You can stay busy all day and still feel empty at night. You scroll, you watch, you consume, but nothing truly lands. And this creates another layer of fear. If distraction no longer saves me, what will I be left with? This is often when people feel uneasy in silence. Not because silence is scary, but because silence reveals what distraction was hiding. Many people after 45 pride themselves on being strong. They've endured, they've adapted, they've carried others. But strength has a hidden cost. When strength becomes identity, rest feels dangerous. Letting go feels like collapse. So beneath the calm exterior lives a quiet fear. If I stop holding myself together, what will happen? This fear doesn't want relief, it wants control. And control is exhausting. This fear doesn't fit language. It's not dramatic enough for therapy slogans. It's not intense enough for crisis conversations. So people say things like, "I'm fine, just tired. Life is busy." But the truth is deeper. It's not tiredness. It's existential fatigue. A tiredness of being someone all the time. And because society rewards function, this fear stays hidden behind competence. Here's where many get confused. They think this fear means, I need a new purpose. I need a new relationship. I need a new direction. So they search. But the fear doesn't go away. Because the fear is not about lack. It's about over-identification. Too many roles, too many stories, too much self-maintenance. The fear whispers, I don't know who I am without all this effort. Here's something rarely said. Many people are afraid of peace, not consciously, but subtly. Peace feels like emptiness. Stillness feels like loss of identity. After decades of doing, achieving, coping, inner space feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. So the fear says, if I stop striving, will I disappear? This is not fear of death, it's fear of ego dissolution. And it's very quiet. This is the turning point. This fear is not a problem, it's a threshold. It appears when old strategies stop working. Not because you failed, but because you're ready for something deeper. The fear is not asking you to fix your life, it's asking you to stop resisting it, to stop managing yourself, to stop narrating yourself, to allow space. When you stop running from this fear, something unexpected happens. It softens. Not because it's solved, but because it's seen. And in that seeing, a deeper stillness begins to emerge. Not excitement, not answers, but relief. Relief from effort. Relief from holding. Relief from pretending to know. And this is where real transformation begins. After 45, something strange happens. The things that used to distract you no longer do. You can stay busy, you can scroll, you can work, you can fill your days with noise. But underneath it all, there is still something quietly waiting. Not sadness, not anxiety, a subtle discomfort that appears when things finally slow down. Many people describe it as boredom, but it's not boredom. It's the moment when the mind runs out of escape routes. This is why silence starts to feel uncomfortable at this age. Because silence removes the roles, the tasks, the identities, and what remains feels unfamiliar. This fear doesn't shout. It doesn't panic you. It doesn't wake you up screaming at night. It simply stays. Like background noise you can't quite turn off. It's the feeling that something essential is missing, even though your life looks complete on paper. This is why people struggle to explain it. They say, "I don't know what's wrong. I should be grateful. Others have it worse." But the fear doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from being disconnected from presence and living almost entirely in thought. Earlier in life, fear was about failure. After 45, fear changes. It becomes the fear that there is no more becoming left, no more transformation, no more new chapter, no more reinvention. The mind whispers, "This is it. This is who you are now. This is as far as it goes." And the fear is not about aging. It's about the idea that life has already revealed everything it had to offer. This belief drains vitality far more than time ever could. As the body slows slightly, the mind tightens its grip. Not because it wants control, but because it fears irrelevance. So it replays memories, rehearses regrets, rewrites the past, projects the future. Thinking becomes a survival strategy. But the irony is this: the more the mind tries to hold life together, the more life feels distant. This creates quiet exhaustion, the kind sleep doesn't fix. There comes a moment when achievement stops delivering fulfillment, not because it failed, but because it was never meant to carry meaning. After 45, many people realize, "I did what I was supposed to do, and yet something is missing." This realization can feel destabilizing, because if success didn't solve it, what will? This is where the quiet fear intensifies. Not knowing what to chase next feels more frightening than chasing the wrong thing. There is a grief that isn't about loss. It's about unlived life. Dreams quietly set aside. Versions of yourself that never fully emerged. Paths not taken. This grief has no ceremony, no language, no permission. So people carry it silently. But grief that is not acknowledged does not disappear. It turns inward, and often it becomes fear. Here's the shift most people never hear. This fear is not a warning, it's an invitation. not to change your life outwardly, but to relate to it differently. This discomfort arises when the old identity is loosening, but the new way of being hasn't been recognized yet. The fear exists in the gap, and gaps feel unsafe to the mind. Most people respond by trying to fix it. They seek motivation, new goals, new stimulation, new meaning. But this fear does not respond to effort, because effort is part of what created it. Trying to overcome it only strengthens the mind's control. What's needed here is not improvement, but presence. The quiet fear begins to dissolve when you stop trying to get rid of it. When you allow it to be there without explanation, without judgment, without urgency. Not as a problem, but as a sensation. Something shifts, because fear survives on resistance. Without resistance, it has nothing to feed on. When you stop fighting the fear, space appears. Not happiness, not excitement. Space. And in that space, something very subtle emerges. A sense of being that is not defined by age, past, or future. This is not something new. It's something that was always there, covered by noise. And this is where the real journey begins. There comes a point where distraction no longer works. You've tried staying busy. You've tried filling your days. You've tried noise, routines, responsibility. And yet, the fear is still there. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly waiting. This is the moment many people mistake as failure, but it's not. It's the moment when your life stops cooperating with avoidance. The mind says, something is wrong. But something very different is happening. You are no longer able to run from yourself. And that is not a problem. That is an initiation. After 45, time feels different. Years no longer feel endless. Choices feel heavier. And beneath that weight lives a quiet question. What if I waste what's left? This fear doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up as pressure, as urgency, as the need to figure it out. But notice this. Fear is not asking you to live fully. Fear is asking you to control the future. And control has never brought peace. The irony is this. The more you try to make the rest of your life meaningful, the less alive you feel. Because meaning cannot be forced. It arises naturally when you stop resisting the present moment. Many people wonder why their mind feels louder now than before. It's not because you're getting weaker. It's because the mind fences a loss of authority. Earlier in life, it guided survival, achievement, belonging, But now, those motivations lose their grip, and the mind panics. So it creates fear. Fear of stagnation, fear of insignificance, fear of disappearing. But the mind is not evil. It is afraid of becoming unnecessary. And here is the truth it doesn't want to hear. You were never meant to be ruled by thought forever. This stage of life is not about thinking better. It's about discovering who you are without constant thinking. There is a deep tiredness that sleep does not fix. It comes from having to be someone all the time. Someone who knows, someone who manages, someone who holds it together. After decades of this, the system wears thin, and fear appears when the role begins to crack. Because without the role, the mind asks, "Who am I now?" But this exhaustion is not a warning. It is a signal that a false identity is dissolving, and what remains is not emptiness. It is simplicity, presence, being. Many people notice something strange after 45. Silence feels uncomfortable. Not because silence is dangerous, but because silence removes distraction. And in silence, the quiet fear surfaces. But listen carefully. Silence is not creating fear. Silence is revealing what was already there. And this is why silence is so powerful. It does not attack fear. It does not argue with it. It simply exposes it to awareness. And fear cannot survive long when it is fully seen without resistance. This is important. The quiet fear you feel is not asking to be solved, fixed, or eliminated. It is asking to be met. Most suffering continues because people try to outthink fear. But fear does not live in logic. It lives in resistance. The moment you stop trying to get rid of it and allow it to exist without judgment, something remarkable happens. The fear loses its identity, and in its place, a deep stillness begins to emerge. Fear always lives in the future, but presence lives now. When you stop rehearsing what might go wrong, when you stop measuring what remains, life softens. Not because problems vanish, but because you are no longer at war with time. After 45, life is not asking you to hurry. It is asking you to arrive, to be here, fully, without negotiation. This needs to be said clearly. You are not late. You are not behind. You did not miss your chance. That story belongs to the mind. Life is not linear. Awakening is not scheduled. Many people only begin to wake up when all the old strategies stop working. And that is exactly where you are now. Not at the end, but at the threshold. What if the fear you're feeling is not an enemy, but a doorway? A doorway out of compulsive thinking, out of forced identity, out of constant self-improvement. Fear appears when the ego begins to loosen its grip, and what follows is not loss, it is space. And in that space, you discover something you were never meant to earn: peace. There is nothing you need to become, nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to rush. This stage of life is not about adding more, it is about subtracting what was never real. The quiet fear will fade, not because you defeated it, but because you stopped feeding it with resistance. Stay here. Breathe. Let life meet you without interference. That is enough.